safe to build a positive live chat experience for you and your viewers. Choose
Exactly.
who
And
can
because it's
participate.
live, it's almost like you gotta
Set
be
a
mindful.
delay between messages or put people in
You said it's
timeout.
gonna be quick, so
Yeah.
um,
Like I got a license to actually be mindful of.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Jafrican once again, and today I'm here with another one and two beautiful ladies. One, of course, is my lady. Let me make a K.
okay.
I'm just here. Hi YouTube.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then the other is our guest, I should say. All right. It's been a while since I've made a video and even done a live. And this is pretty much new to me, so I'm feeling it out and see where it leads. We have a very controversial topic. In fact, I'm following up on a topic that I did a few weeks ago when I said, what's the topic? Women, you are not independent. And I got a few comments and feedback. Right? I have some ladies here that I want to discuss the topic with me further and even react to some of these comments. So I'll first go through the comments before we get into our discussion. All right. The first comment said, "Shut up." Right. I can't pronounce that name, but it said, "Shut up." And to that comment, I will say, "No, I will not shut up, and you can't make me." And the channel is too small for you to cancel. So yeah, you have to wait until I get big, then you come back and you cancel me. Right. Otherwise, keep watching. If you didn't subscribe. If you did not subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Put on notification bell because you know that I reacted to your comment. But if you didn't, you won't know until you stumble upon the video again. So the next one, this person is Smello7769 says, so this applies to any man, woman, or other in a relationship. Nobody who's in a relationship is independent. And it was a question mark. So we'll respond to that. The next person says, I am a lesbian. So am I now independent by your definition? Again, we'll react to that. Next one says, I think you are retired, and put a laugh emoji. No, love emoji. Thank you for the love. No thanks to the retarded part. I am not retarded. My mom didn't tell me that I was retarded, so I'm not. All right, teacher said I was smart. Thank you. So, ladies.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, they think I'm corny.
Let's be honest.
Yes.
They think I'm corny. I don't think so. I live in my own world, and so that's fine.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So again, to the topic, women, you are not independent. What are your thoughts? We will go to our guests first, and then to the lady in white. Okay.
I think realistically, I don't think by method of the topic, the word independence, even when he went to the definition of it, you can't say that women are not independent. I think you can't make any sort of blanket statement on people that does not have nuances to encompass regard for everybody's different situations. I think there are some women that are truly independent, and then there are some that aren't. But I do think the way the term independence has been, I guess, sensationalized across the media has largely been taken to kind of be a stance where a lot of people kind of feel some type of way to not necessarily be independent. Like, to essentially, if you're going to be the type of woman that says, like, yo, I am not necessarily an independent woman, that is not something I desire for myself, it's looked at as like, oh wow, like, like you're lesser than. I think it's literally gone the counterpart. It's went from like women don't have a voice and women are submissive to, now you have to be, it's like the polar opposite. Like, yo, I'm independent, I don't need no man, yada yada yada. And I think it's like societally the mindset of kind of people running away from this idea of being like lesser than. So I think the independence statement is kind of like a blanket to try to cover in a way.
Okay. Okay. Well put.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
What do I think? Well, I think sometimes independence is something that some women end up growing into. It isn't a choice. Maybe your life circumstances or things that occurred put you in a position in which you've had to do without, or maybe you've been let down or disappointed a lot by male counterparts. And so it kind of pushes you towards then I could do battle by myself. I mean, really, it's the notion of if I have this man and he's more trouble than he's worth, then I might as well do it by myself, right? And so here we are hopping on, hopping on to the independence factor. But to what our guest has just alluded to and mentioned, yeah, independence, the word itself, right? It's cultural, right? It's become a cultural movement. It's a part of like I can do it all on my own, and I think sometimes we get too blanket with it and not realize that every woman gets to decide what they want their life to be like, right? And so as our host mentioned in his previous video, he read off a few definitions, but he also mentioned that are we really independent, or have we just replaced, the physical presence of a man, right? In the sense of, he mentioned like security gates and video cameras and all the things that we do to get security, whereas I guess traditionally in the past, men were looked to provide security, right? But now fast forward us living in this time, we've been able to kind of go beyond the man because we have technology and we have all these things that can still provide a sense of security and do all these things. And so that's where he's coming from, I imagine. And so, yeah, I think each of us are able to live a life, especially here, right, on this side of the globe. We're able to really design the life we want as far as, being independent of male counterparts in our lives, especially for those of us who desire male counterparts in our lives, really more specifically, right? And so the independence factor, I think it is certainly choices, but also sometimes circumstance that brings us there. So by definition, independence is multi-layered is really where I'm getting at, right? It isn't just like, you're independent, you don't need a man, but it's also like, okay, maybe I view myself as independent because I'm able to like work and pursue a career and do certain things versus and still come home and have a family and do all these things, where I wear different hats and I play different roles in different places, because I could come home and be a family person and be submissive, but then when I'm at work, I'm doing my thing and as they say, moving like a boss. So but it's all up to us individually. So I think overall, to the host's question of what we think about women not being independent, it's multi-layered and definitely would require a lot more of a conversation, right? And maybe different series of conversations to kind of look at it from so many different perspectives. Yeah, so I'll say that I'll leave it here for now.
Okay, all right. Well said, well said. All right, let me first respond to the comment that says, I am a lesbian. So am I independent by your definition? Yes, by my definition, you are doing without a man, if you actually are, right? So you, by my definition, are independent. What you're not independent of, though, is your partner. Regardless of who your partner is, you are not independent of your partner. You can leave another comment and we will read that one. Now, the other definition, like I said, the person says, does this apply to man, woman, or any other who are in a relationship? And he's saying nobody in a relationship is independent. All right, you can be in a relationship and independent of your partner in specific things. Like you can be financially independent of your partner within a relationship. So as long as you don't spend your partner's money, nothing that you require inside the relationship has to do with your partner's money. You can be independent of your partner in terms of planning. I don't see how you'll do it, but if you do all the planning all by yourself and make all the decisions, and they don't, you're actually independent of them. Like I said, doing the thing without the next person. All right. So ladies, let's get deeper in this topic because I know we could speak to the audience and say it in such a way that might not be offensive to anybody, right? But in your own observation, and we'll go in the same order. In your own observation, have you encountered women who believe that they are independent, and give me an idea of how how their relationships were, without giving too much details of people's relationship. But for somebody who you knew or who you know claims to be independent, what's the nature of their relationship, if you can share?
I'm not following.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you know anybody who claims independence?
Really? I don't know no go hard people. Not a person that like makes it their identity or anything like that. Not from personal experience. I did want to say a pivot off of that comment that you read that
Okay, sure.
I would say I agree with whoever made the comment that like
Did I retard it?
that anybody who is in a relationship is in essence not independent. I will firmly agree to that. I think with your original comment, you target women, but I think if we pull back a little bit and we look at people,
Yeah.
humanity, nobody is independent, or you can be, but should you be? I think that might be a better question. So I think when you think about it, people seek relationship and people are in relationships. So in reference to the comment of the lesbian, are you independent by his original definition? Yes, because you don't have a man per se, but if you are in a relationship with somebody else that you share your life with, you're not independent. I think majority of people, humanity, strive towards independence. Strive towards relationship because it gives you that mutual dependence. Because the reality of it is, doing life alone is hard. Even if you are single, it's hard. Being together is hard as well, but when you have a togetherness, when you have a companion, life life sometimes is a little bit easier. Being somebody who has been in a long term relationship and is currently single, it makes things a little bit. There's pros and cons on each, but I will say, when you're in that union, when you're in that relationship, there's certain things that's not just all you, and that weight is shared. Um, but when it comes to like that independence, like like they said, like both man or woman, neither is independent. I don't think it's necessarily a gender specific thing. Like when you're in a relationship and you're living life, and even if we want to go further, if you don't want to say relationship, if you have a roommate, if you live in regards to your family, anytime that you're living a life, and I don't think anybody's really truly independent when you have friendships, when you have coworkers, like you're not really doing life all by yourself. You Anybody who runs a business will tell you, like, yes, you could have been the brain, you could have been the CEO, but it typically takes somebody else to pair with you, and it takes the employees underneath you and whoever else to really make your vision come to fruition. I think it's the same thing in any regards to life. If you're an individual and you're living in your parents' home, um, you're not doing everything in that home all by yourself. You are a part of that, and I think being human, the human experience, is not a totally independent one. We have others on this earth. I don't think we all know that isolation leads to depression and leads to dark thoughts. It's never been completely good to like truly be by yourself. I think if you're gonna go all the way in the term independence, you would need to literally isolate yourself. And I think we can all agree like that ain't the best. So I think everybody is actually dependent.
I remember saying that to be independent, you must isolate. To be truly independent, but we are not a species that survive like that. All right, go
You
ahead.
will thrive.
Yeah, no, I agree, right? I think by nature, we strive towards we strive towards community by nature, right? And um, so independence is different. And by the way, me time, alone time, like deliberate alone time, it's so different than isolation and not having anyone, right? And so needing to connect with people, getting involved in community, animals moving pack, like we're all from this cut from the same cloth at the end of the day, right? And so yes, I do agree that um, we can never really truly be independent all the way, right? Maybe we've evolved, we've gotten technology, we've come far, right? We've come far and we could do things, people live alone, all of that, but it's just inherently we still need it, whether it's a social group, a social setting, family connections, friends. You still need something. It doesn't always have to be relationship or romantic in nature, but we do need something, right? And so it's just like that's just I think our biological makeup that craves that naturally, right? That's it. That's just what it is.
All right, thank you. I mean, it's some things that I've said before, and I'll give an analogy to the that was the title of the video, but in the no, that was the wording on the thumbnail, but in the actual title it says we go nowhere unless we go together. And here's an analogy that I use. It's like you're a little child and that you'll be growing over a period of time, and one leg is the woman, one leg is the man, and for those of you in a different type of relationship, one leg, your one leg, and the other one is your partner. But I can only speak to what I know. I'm not an expert on anything else, right? I'm not even an expert. I'm not even an expert in a heterosexual relationship, right? But I pretend to be an expert right now, so I'll talk on that. The man is one leg and the woman is another leg, right? If the woman grows and the man doesn't, and she feels good in her growth, and they'll grow, and she'll grow until the entire body topples over and falls to destruction, right? If on the other side, the other hand, the man grows and she's not growing, and he grows into whatever he's doing, that leg eventually gets too long and the entire body topples over, right? If both does not grow and stay short, I guess that could work too. But the ideal situation is if both, depending on each other, grow together, right? So that's how I see it. We go nowhere unless we go together, and you can pretty much use it in every aspect of our lives, right? I don't know, based on what you said, you both said you pretty much believe the same thing. Would you have any advice for women or men who think they can be independent or strive to be independent within their relationship, and describe what that would look like?
I think if you're in a relationship and your goal is to be independent, you really need to sit with yourself and actually sit with some good counsel and try to figure out, like, what do you really want in life? You know, do you want to be in this relationship, and do you want to foster that relationship so that it can grow and be healthy and can be something that gives to you? Or do you truly want to live a life of solitude? Because if you're trying to be in union and then spending most of your days worrying about, oh, I'm gonna be independent, what's the purpose of the union? Why'd you get in it? Why? You're gonna waste people's time. Because you're in that union, but I'm not gonna rely on you. I don't need you for nothing. The purpose of unity is to make life easier. That's the whole purpose of it. You know, and to kind of reject the benefit of unity, why enter into it? Just remain single. So there's that. If you're striving to be independent, like, you might be trying to fulfill something inside yourself. Now, it's one thing if you have some growth that you need to do as an individual, and you're probably trying to distance yourself to be able to do that, because certain moments of growth do need to happen within yourself and by yourself. So I can understand that. But as for any advice, be happy in your union. And if you can't be happy in your union, you either need to identify the issue in your union that is causing a problem, or if the union itself is not copacetic to benefit you, then maybe it might be time to remove yourself from that specific union, but not necessarily unions altogether.
Dip.
It might be time to leave out your relationship. But for any man, woman looking to be independent, I think it might be a larger side that something's wrong in your union. Because if you're in a good, happy union where life is becoming easier because you guys are in symmetry and helping one another, you wouldn't want to leave life to make it solo and do it all by yourself, because it definitely is a little bit harder to do it all by yourself, like to have rent to pay all by yourself as opposed to shared responsibility, to cook for yourself X amount of times a day as opposed to being able to share that responsibility. You cook this amount of times a week, I'll cook this amount of times a week. Or to have the ability to be like, yo, you know what, like, damn, the laundry is piling up. When you're solo, that laundry's staring at you in the face. But at least when you're in a union, you have the potential of someone coming home and being like, oh, actually, I did the laundry. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you take care of the cars, and you each pick your portions, and it makes it a little bit easier, because if you gonna cook 3 times a week for yourself, you could cook 3 times a week and just double the portion, same amount of work, except 2 people are benefiting as opposed to just you.
Go. Well, I guess for me, as far as advice goes, I'll share a bit, right? And I guess we'll leave it there, and then you guys come back for more. I think for me, most of my life, especially my younger years, I definitely was Miss Independent. I mean, Beyonce's anthem and all. And I really believed it. And of course, what got to it was also life experiences. As I got older, I started dating, all these things. I was like, oh, definitely gonna be independent because this is ghetto. And so that really brought it full circle for me. But now that I am in a relationship, I think, and one that I consider to be a healthy dynamic, I think it has really, really helped me start to understand that it wasn't really I was independent. It was more that I was really seeking to be treated healthily, properly, in a fair relationship. And so each time it didn't work out, I felt cheated. And so therefore it came the emotion of, well, I don't need this and I don't need that. And I don't want to rely on you because, well, you're going to let me down. So then I turned to me. But now that I'm in a different dynamic, it's kind of like, whoa, it's true. The whole being dependent is helpful. But it's not that dependent because I can't do for myself. Let's not get that wrong, right? But it's more like it makes an ease for relationship. It's such an ease to kind of lean on one another and get that support when you can. And so I think if you're in a relationship striving to be independent, it will fall apart. Bottom line. It will fall apart because how can I say I'm in a relationship and say that I'm going to just cook my meal, right? How would he take it if he came home and I just cooked my meal? Or like it snowed the other day and he went outside, babe, I just cleaned my car off. Like, oh, hello, do we not care about each other? What are we building here? What's going on, right? And everybody's relationship is different, but I don't think independence really has a place in relationship, because then it literally defies the whole definition of the relationship. It's like pulling away everyone for themselves, a lot of selfishness, right? That happens, and it's like, well, that's not something you want. And so I think just by living and allowing life to mold me, it hasn't been molding me. I've learned and I've realized that part makes more sense. And it will never be because I can't do, and I will keep saying that. It's not because I can't do, but I think being that I've chosen to be in a relationship, I also then have to kind of open myself up to the notion of a we factor in the consideration of the other person, and trusting that I am also considered by that other person, right? And as long as we're going like this, to the host's point, then we do go further together. So, I know he said we go nowhere unless we go together. I'll just add, if you're in a relationship, you do go further together when you are in that space of considering that, you know what, he's one part of my leg and I'm the other part of my leg. And as we all have legs for the most part, if you haven't gotten into any injuries or anything like that, it needs to be connected to the body to go somewhere. So it's actually mutually beneficial that you both are invested in understanding that it's not a dependent because we can't. It's a dependent by choice for the betterment of the group. That's what I've learned so far. But yeah, stay tuned. We will be talking more about this. With other guests, with just Bay and I, on different things to come down the road. So yeah, thank you.
Oh my God. And just to go back to something that you said earlier, and it's a sad thing where this is as a result of how women were treated or are being treated, on a daily basis, where men abuse. I don't know why they call it power, but just let me just use it for the sake of what we're talking about. Abuse their power in the home, or the fact that they are the breadwinner or provider. And so now when women have the opportunity to do the same, and let me say, a lot of women do so much better than men, right? I have not heard any situation of women, getting from work, stopping at the bar, wasting all their earnings. Men do that a lot. We're professionals at that, by now, right? So because of how women were treated, this is one of the results, right? But it is still not the way forward. That's the thing. Because what I've realized is that women, when they become or they attain such independence, they become just as arrogant or even more than the men who treated them that way or was in that position before, right? So like I said, I don't see that as the way forward, and we go nowhere unless we go together. I think for the next topic we want to talk about boss. Can I say bitches?
I don't know. Is that
I
the
hope I don't
appropriate
get
way?
censored for that, but that's a term, boss bitch,
Boss
right?
ladies.
Yeah.
Boss ladies,
Ladies.
boss ladies.
Yeah,
See,
you're trying
and
to-
see exactly my point.
Boss
I'm here trying to figure out a good term to say, and ladies is just right there, and I couldn't say it. I don't know, and for something, it took a lady to bring that out. Boss ladies. So we need each other. That's
Trying to be
that's
culturally relevant.
yeah, culturally
Relevant, that's
relevant,
so you're
yeah.
trying to be culturally relevant. It's okay to say boss ladies.
Boss ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I feel like that don't even work. Boss ladies, like, they don't go together,
Well, I think ladies like to be the ones that call themselves bitches.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
The ladies,
Yeah.
because I'm like, if you're lady is all I need to hear, and I'm like, hats off to you, right? So add boss to that, I'm like, no, that's an overkill, Right.
Whatever.
right? So yeah, boss ladies, we'll talk about that and how they are mutated or transformed into something totally different, right? At the end of that, thank you for watching, right? In the comments, help me to thank my beautiful guest and my lady over there, right? And I will see you in the next one.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
We went live.
Yes.
All right, I guess I'll have to cut off this part. Was it recording all this time?